Hey everybody. Um, Tonight it's gonna be just me on my stream. I feel like the music's a little too loud. It is a little loud. No longer too loud of music. But anyway, tonight we're gonna talk about paranormal while working on a level. This level has actually been quite fun. It's going to be turned into a canyon. One of my favorite legends or folklore came from. Hello! But one of my favorite folklores actually came from the Native Americans, and it's quite ironic that I really enjoyed the Legend of the Skinwalkers. I like that, the Legend of the Banshees. There's like so many from around the world, like the Kuchu. I can't even pronounce her name. It's Kuchisake or something like that. Okay. That's good. I was not done with you yet. That's good. But yeah, so something that is very interesting that I have been doing is a lot of research, and through a lot of that research, I have found that there are like different areas, different places that certain urban legends occur, like the Oakey Street Methodist Church in Alabama. There's a shrieking banshee, there's hellhounds, so not Soviets, Confederate ghosts. I mixed those up, I am sorry, but through these like ghosts and things, it's really cool that there is like some truth. Oh, I forgot about there are two small kid ghosts at this church as well, and a ghost rider, which is somebody who drives a truck. Yeah, and something that's like really interesting about the level I'm creating is it goes with the Legend of the Skinwalker. If you don't know the Legend of the Skinwalker, that's okay. They're supposedly medicine men who perform dark magic and became people who wear these animal pellets. Through the animal pellets, they can transform into whatever animal they're wearing. And it's really cool because some of them actually pick their favorites, and everybody has a personal preference for things like that. But what's really cool about it is they live in like terrains such as canyons, ironic, um, canyons, forests, mountains. They've been seen all across like the United States and stuff, and what's really cool about it is that through the Legend of the Skinwalker, hold on one second. Hey boys, no. Alfred, Coda. Alfred. No. No. Hold on everybody, I'll be right back and I will finish talking about more about the Legend of the Skinwalker. Alright, sorry about that, everybody. Sometimes you just gotta go let your dog out, right? But anyway, so did it again. As I was saying, the skinwalkers have this unique way of disguising themselves. They also, hold on, my tablet wigged out, so everything's in like transferring one screen, so I apologize for that. Having problems tonight, sorry everybody. But as I was saying, like, with Legend of the Skinwalkers, it's amazing. Like, the way they hunt is not normal, and it's like they stalk you, and you can tell because they're hollowed out just how different they really are from humans. And like I said, this is Native American folklore, and it's something that is like highly fascinating. I would recommend checking it out. Like, hi, how are you doing? You're funny. Elford, Elford, come. Get away from your brother. Get away from your brother. But I'm tired. I'm sorry you're tired. Hey, at least things will get easier eventually, right? As I was saying, I really actually enjoy studying up on the folklore and culture of where it came from and how it came to be. And what's truly amazing about it and fascinating is how we went from creating these myths and stuff, like these mythical beings like gods and goddesses, to creating monsters. Okay, I'm not doing this tonight, Coda. I'm not doing this tonight, Coda. Anyway, but enough about the whole Skinwalker thing. Like I said, I recommend looking up Skinwalker Ranch and stuff like that, because that place is full of paranormal activity. Another one that I really enjoy, which I mentioned earlier, was the Oakey Street Methodist Church. And the reason that I'm so fascinated with that one is because it has the Gaelic Banshee. And ironic enough, the Banshee warns you of death, whether it be yourself, someone else you love and care about, an acquaintance, a friend. They actually don't scream, they weep. Enough. But they actually, like, wait for that person because, like, death is not an easy thing, and the bringers of death are pretty scary, if you ask me. But it's also, like, super amazing because the Gaelic Banshee actually came from Ireland, and, you know, like, yeah, the culture there is amazing, and I found out in, like, Norse mythology, they also have creatures similar to, like, skinwalkers and stuff like that, and studying stuff like that is very, very fascinating. because you find out a lot about other cultures. You find out a lot about where these folklores, these urban legends and stuff like that came from. Like, I think one of my favorite ones is the Inunaki, which is pretty much howling dog or something like that village, and it's supposedly this place that is like not in Japan law, so the people there are allowed to kill you. The sad thing about that is that it is now part of a dam. So, damn, they got damned. Doomed to being under a dam. But finding out about that and what it used to be also leads me into the Kuchisake Una, which is the slit-mouthed woman, and in every culture there's also one of those. And it is amazing just how much these urban legends and stuff hold truth. Like, I like to watch a lot of animated horror stories, and there was one about the Kuchisake Una and how these boys saw her in the Suicide Forest. Which I can believe you can see anything in that forest, and it's amazing in itself. Just how much it comes back to origins. Like, the Kuchisake Una is known as the Red Masked Woman in Korea. She is also known to be here in the States. I forget what she's called here. But every culture has one, and supposedly she's a maleficent ghost. Or not maleficent, I can't even pronounce the word, but she's like a violent ghost. And it happens when you die tragically, and the legend behind her, which is another one that I enjoy studying, she was married to a samurai and was not cheating, but he thought she was, so he kept asking her if she was, and eventually she did decide to, and he ended up slicing her from ear to ear with his sword and then killing himself. Well, moral of the story there is don't kill other people, because it does come back to haunt you. And sometimes don't do it with regret, especially if it's like a loved one, and then that brings me back to the Skinwalker. There are other stories where they talk about how it's the Wendigo, not the Skinwalker. The Skinwalker is dark magic. The Wendigo is if you killed someone in your family. You're doomed to become something that becomes cannibal. They have different ones of those in each culture too, and I've seen it among like the Native American tribes, which is also another fascinating thing. Like when you study Native American culture and their folklore, it's amazing how much actually got poured into this land. And there's a lot that happens that people don't understand. Like, sometimes you get demons, sometimes you get normal ghosts, there's a number of things you can get, and sometimes they just follow you home. That's why you gotta be careful at night. Yeah. There's also another one that I really like. It's called the Ticka Ticka. And it's pretty much a woman who was hit by a train and ripped in half, and basically she's on the tips of her fingers, and he goes tick 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 tick, and she can go enormously fast. She is also known in a bunch of different cultures to be a violent ghost or a vengeful spirit, like the Kuchisake Una. And it's amazing because you end up with these ghosts that come back because of the way they died. It's like if you've ever seen Ju-on actually have them. Enough, boys. I am tired of hearing you whine. This is not cool. This is not fair. You guys got food and water. You guys went outside. I don't know what else to do. Thank you. Sorry about that. Having dogs is like having two little 5-year-olds. Or toddlers. They just never know when to stop. But I forget where I was. But that's also the cool thing. Like, if you connect them to different cultures, you discover, like, the anthropology behind the folklore, how it happened, the origins, and it's an amazing thing. Because you never know what you're gonna get. Let's see, what was another one? Oh, another urban legend that I really enjoy is Bloody Mary. You say her name 3 times in the mirror, ooh, she appears. And she pretty much is another violent spirit that's out to, like, kill you. Well, obviously I have a thing for dark things, like evil spirits. Sometimes you end up with, like, demonology, mythology. That has some truth to it, too. Like, you really don't know the aspect of how people perceive things. So it is like up to us to perceive them how we see fit. So like if you have a favorite one that you've like read about or seen, like again we go back to Constellation Church, or as it's known as Oakey Street Methodist Church. It burnt down in 2015. I want to say 2015, but don't quote me. It might be 2016 that it burned down. It was one of those years, but it was because people were putting like demonic symbols, someone vandalized it, you know, crazy things like that. Okay, boys. This whining is gonna stop. I'm not gonna sit here and do this all night. I love you guys to death, but this isn't okay. Over, there's room for you. Come on. Ah, dog. But not only that, I can actually read you some of the research notes that I've had that actually are amazing. Like, a skinwalker is a person with the ability to transform into any different type of animal at will. They could also take on the form of humans and mimic their voices, it's anything they want. And this is through black magic. Breathe, buddy. Goodness. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know what's going on with my dogs tonight. They've been doing this a lot lately. So, I apologize for whiny dogs in the background. Anyway, like with skinwalkers, they come from black magic, and it's taboo in some cultures to wear animal fur or animal hide because it means you're a skinwalker. Let's see, what's another urban legend that actually is crazy? I don't really want to talk about it, but I will because it's one of those crazy ones. But the Black-Eyed Children, they are known to be seen around everywhere. And we don't know exactly what they are. They can be demonic, they can be just vampires that suck our blood. Like, nobody knows exactly what they are. And that's okay. Give me 1 second, I gotta reposition this. You didn't use the restroom, buddy. Where is your bone? I don't know. But, yeah, like, you have that one, and that one is more terrifying because you never know when they're going to show up, you never know when they're going to knock on your door, you never know what they're going to do, but it's always in the form of children. And that's what's even more scary because everybody loves children, right? Well, some people don't, I get that, but a lot of people love children, and that's what seems more appealing. So these things like falsify people out, and you never really know exactly what you're gonna get. So yeah. That's why, like, you always do a lot of research on what you want to do because you never know exactly what you're going to end up finding. And from an anthropologist's standpoint, like, culture is amazing, and seeing the different ways that we've incorporated the people who immigrated here's cultures and their urban legends, their folklores, their myths. Like, through all of that, you learn a lot about how things used to be and what they were. Like, I think my favorite folklore is about the ogres. That one is pretty much, they live under bridges, they like to feast on human flesh, this, that, and the other, and it's pretty much they pick a bridge, they lure people to their deaths, and you never really actually know until it's too late if you come across one. But the other thing too is that, like, something that is really fascinating is the color of their skin. It can be green, it can be blue, it's almost like trolls. But trolls don't fully exist, but there's no saying that they didn't at one point. The flailed dragon looks like a Dilophosaurus, like a very small version of the Dilophosaurus. But that's the thing, like, through evolution, you never really know what you're gonna come across, and through legends, myths, all of that, you never exactly know how those affect culture. Let's see, something else that's really fascinating. Oh, in a lot of other culture too, they have things similar to rare creatures. And a lot of were creatures stemmed from the skinwalker. The only difference is the skinwalker is hollowed out, whereas when you look at your were creatures, they're more fully in tone and stuff like that. But yeah, that's part of why it's so amazing when you think about the culture, the way that they came up with these legends, these myths. We went from these beings that helped us to these monsters that are like from nightmares. It's truly fascinating. And like I said before, you never really know what you're gonna get. Do a little something back here. Smooth some of this up. Let's see. Oh, another one, which I actually had to do research on because one of my favorite games actually brushes on it, but there's a game called Fatal Frame that they say is based on true stories, and I can't find the story again, but it said that the king of the manor went crazy, well, the king of the mansion went crazy, and he decided to kill everybody in it, but he did these like strange rituals and stuff, and after all of that, he killed himself after killing everybody in the manor, but one person got away. And it's called the Himuro Mucho. I think I butchered that a little bit. I'm sorry if I did. But that's how I know it, and what's crazy about that is that was also a myth in Japan. But there's signs that it actually did happen. There's also the Western Village, which is similar to here in America. But it has different like themes and rides and stuff like that. It's like the old Wild Wild West and whatnot. Which is truly amazing, but it's no longer an operating thing. There's also parts of, yeah. Another urban legend that had me like, whoa, was the tale of the otter people. And basically what they do is they lure these children to the water and they stick them in their pouch and go back into the water and basically turn them into otter people too. So now you have otters stealing our children. What are we gonna do? But that's an Eskimo urban legend from Alaska. And that truly is amazing too because you never fully know. Like, hey, maybe one day I'll run into an otter person. Yeah, I mean, there's that. I keep going back to the skinwalkers because I like the skinwalkers. Honestly, if I were to ever be one, I'd be a hawk. Much rather be predator than prey. But I also like hawks. um, let's see. In Navajo culture, it's taboo to have animal pelts because, again, they assume that you are a skinwalker. Skinwalkers also Mohawk tribes, Aztecs. They even said something about the skinwalkers. Like, there's a lot about that. There's a lot about, well, not a lot about it, but there's also this place called Crybaby Bridge, which is a KO, I can't pronounce the road, but it's amazing, and it's like this plantation. It takes you to this plantation that's like broken down and stuff, and like this woman was murdered there. Or no, she jumped into the river with her baby because she couldn't be with her love because he was murdered by her husband. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really messed up urban legends and paranormal stuff. Like, honestly, I think that putting some haunted places would be really cool. I think that doing a bunch of other really cool things with this would be amazing. But right now we're just making a canyon. And that's one of the places that skinwalkers like to hide, is in canyons. And it's in Utah and Arizona normally where you'll spot them. Let's actually go back to Consolation Church, Okie Street Methodist Church, Okie Street Methodist Church. Yep, I'm gonna butcher that one all night. But that one is actually an urban legend in itself, and with all the paranormal activity around it, a lot of people are actually scared of it. Hold on one moment, guys. I gotta reposition this. But that's also the thing too, is that like you really never know what you're gonna run into. And no, there is a pathogen that could create zombies, but we don't know what it is yet. And like there is a lot of truth to a lot of things. Boom, you know what? Supposedly there are mutants in Chernobyl, which is also another really cool thing, but I don't fully believe it. I know that radiation mutated some of their fish and stuff like that too, and you got these creatures that look almost parasitic that are like the size of your finger, and it's really cool. I actually share my birthday is 10 years after the tragic incident in Chernobyl, which I thought was pretty cool. It's been 35 years for it, and yeah, just knowing that I share the same birthday as the biggest incident in the biggest nuclear disaster in the world is an amazing thing. I also did a lot of research on that and what radiation poisoning does to people, and it's a pretty terrifying thing because you never fully know if you're going to get acute radiation poisoning or you're going to end up stuck with like an elephant foot and end up pretty much dead, because that's a lot of radiation. Lesson there. Watch your team when doing tests, because you never know when they're going to melt down a nuclear power plant. Which you can't really blame anybody there for that, because they didn't know the test was going to fail and everything was going to go to crap. So there's a lot of tragedy there, and what's really cool is I feel like that would be a very, very haunted place, because there was a lot of people that died. There was a lot of people who ended up with mutated DNA that were missing strains, and just a lot of people died from acute radiation poisoning. So, out of respect for people in Ukraine, I honestly truly would say it's an honor to know their story and to be able to be like, hey, Chernobyl, man. But yeah, like having nuclear meltdowns, those places would be haunted. Asylums, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, they want to turn that into a hotel, and I'm astonished by that, because you shouldn't. It's a haunted place, and you shouldn't mess around with any haunted places, because you never know what's gonna happen. That's another thing that I thought was pretty cool. Oh, there is a joke, and I have to, again, shout out Mr. Ballin for it, because if it wasn't for one of his videos on YouTube, I wouldn't have the joke about Bell's Canyon. So, I asked, can anyone tell me how to get to Bell's Canyon? But, like, with that, we also have, like, you never know when you're gonna see spirits in places. Like, we have the Stanley Hotel, Waverly Hills Sanitarium, like sanitariums, asylums, abandoned buildings. You never know what lies in there. And that brings me back to, like, urban legends and stuff, like I said, the Screaming Banshee from the Methodist Church, that one, warning of death. You can always find demons and stuff too, and those are a lot harder to get rid of. But the cool thing about the paranormal is you never really know what you're gonna get into. You never really know just how fascinating it really can get. And when you find something that you enjoy researching, like with me, I'm constantly attracted to going back and studying more about skinwalkers, because it fascinates me that medicine men can actually do black magic and cause, like, this mischief. And it's just, with knowing that it's possible that every legend that we've heard, like the vampires in New Orleans, they have proven that one again and again, because they go to the place where the people that are supposedly vampires are buried, and they're not there. Or they're there, but it's like their bodies are fully intact, and it's amazing. It is just amazing how much culture is really in urban legends, myths, stuff like that. But there's that, there's haunted places, there's like one of our most haunted places here in Colorado is Riverdale Road. Riverdale Road has seen a lot of death. It's seen a lot of, like, it's seen a lot of things. You have joggers. There's supposedly a portal to hell in a shed or a chicken coop or something like that. I've heard two different stories. I've never actually seen it. I've never been around it, and I don't normally like going around things like that, so I'm not the super adventurous type when it comes to the paranormal, but I sure will do the research so I know, hey, you know what? This area is like this. Another one in Alabama that has me fascinated is the children's playground. The children go and play. Swing! Or swoosh! And that's actually the cool thing, is that you really don't know what's really there. Let's see. Touched on the Teka-Teka, touched on that. Something that I also really enjoy about all these readings and finding out is that, like, with the Skinwalker Ranch, they did research and found out that there really is a skinwalker that lives there. And it's a place of paranormal activity, and you really never know what you're going to sight there. And that's one of the places that I'm like, ooh, I want to go see. Because the paranormal is not knowing what's really there or what's really just a legend, and there's always some truth to a legend. They people worship other people, people sacrifice people, there's like cults, there's different religions, there's mythologies, urban legends. I think one of my favorite myths is that KFC had to change its name to KFC from Kentucky Fried Chicken because it doesn't use real chicken. That urban legend is ridiculous, but it's funny. And just so everybody is aware, KFC still stands for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And they do use real chicken, so don't go around trying to say, oh, this is real. They don't use real chicken, they use mutated chickens. Yeah, mutated chickens. If there was such thing, I don't know how I'd react. But there isn't. I mean, there's cloning and stuff, like they can clone part of your arm and eat it. It is like, I wonder what I taste like. But that with that myth, it's not an urban legend, it's a myth. The myth about KFC is just hilarious. It's comical. It's something you can actually really laugh about because everybody knows there is no such thing as mutated chicken with like 6 legs, 6 wings, and like 2 breasts. Maybe 2 heads. You never know. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. A 2-headed chicken. Can you imagine that with like 8 wings and 6 legs? It's ridiculous. But sometimes that's just how ridiculous some urban legends really are. Some myths, some folklore. But there is always some truth. Yes, they use real chicken. Or, yes, you know what, you're bound to run into something paranormal in the end. Or if you encounter something that terrifies you, the vanishing hitchhiker. She's an urban legend. And, I think that it's tragic for another urban legend that they have about a guy with no face. He was actually real and was a veteran, so it explains why his face was missing, but what's sad is people weren't very kind to him. So, of course, he haunts places too, and, it's just one of those creepy things. You never know what you're going to come in contact with, whether it's a skinwalker, a banshee, some random little kid ghost that likes to roll red balls at you, and you die like 3 days later after that. Ironic about that one. We go back to Oakey Street Methodist Church, and there's 2 ghosts there. That's a little boy and a little girl. If the little boy rolls the ball to you and you roll it back to him, or you throw it back to him, you're bound to die. If you just leave it and have him fetch it, you're fine. And the little girl doesn't do anything to you, but she'll make your car stop so you can't go past her until after she passes you. The Ghost Rider tries to run you off the road, or you get into this tragic accident that basically kills you or everybody in your car. So, yeah, I mean, there is some truth to it, and I did find some articles about car accidents that occurred near the church. So it just, it's fascinating. It's all just really fascinating. Let's see, another thing we can actually really touch on is the Stanley Hotel here in Colorado. Yes, it is very haunted. All I hear is that song by MGMT called Kids. Share yourself, take only what you need from the family I will choose. You'll be home. But yeah, like there's that. There's a lot of haunted places. There's a lot of really cool urban legends out there. You know, there's some that are like cliche. Bloody Mary is a cliche one. No, I'll actually tell you guys another one of my favorite urban legends. Hold on, I gotta find it. Let's see. There is a million crybaby bridges. But there's this one in Maryland that takes place in a lighthouse. And the lighthouse is pretty much haunted, and it's one of those pretty crazy things. But yeah, no, I mean, some of these urban legends you actually have to look up because I can't fully tell you. Urban legends are just amazing. Yeah. I think that something else that is really fascinating is there's also a lot of witches in a lot of urban legends. There are a lot of places that have housekeepers that are it's like a haunting, but that's also considered an urban legend. Um, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Like there's the Witch in the Woods, and goodness, I can't remember what state it's in. There's the 1212 in Korea. I don't remember if it's North or South Korea, but there's that in Korea, and that one was really fascinating because she basically slaughters everybody. And it's 121212. Oh, cats are at it. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing what ends up happening and what goes on with urban legends. No, I'll actually read you another thing from my research with the skinwalkers because I think that it's really cool. If you accidentally look in the eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into your body and take control of your actions. Well, if you stop and think about that, sometimes if your soul is, you might get away with it. Bad joke. It's a redheaded joke. Basically, with that, they're saying that you never look a skinwalker in the eyes because they can take over basically who you are. They become you. And sometimes they'll take you to a ritual if they deem you worthy to be a skinwalker, and if not, they'll kill you. Like, a lot of these urban legends are just like, oh yeah, we gotta kill you. There's no biggie. Like, that being said, no biggie. Yeah. It's just amazing how much of it really is somewhat true. Skinwalkers can blow corpse powder into your face and that kills them too. So, get your bearings. You never know what type of creature it is. Yeah. A lot of our folklore stems from our urban legends, and it's pretty much a story of either something hilarious or humorous, or something that is horrific, terrifying, all that jazz. So you never fully expect anything. So it's great. Um, let's see. I want to go back to Suicide Forest. That place has a lot of bad history, and supposedly that place is extremely haunted too, and you see a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't normally see. Yeah. And I'm trying to think. Oh, there's a UFO urban legend in Alaska, the Alaskan Triangle, which is like the Bermuda Triangle. When we talk about the Bermuda Triangle, I think it's just an energy field that hinders you from being able to like fly and do stuff. Yeah, it. A lot of people get lost in the wilderness in Alaska, so you end up with people always being lost there, or never returning. You also end up with like there's been sightings of like UFOs there. There's been a lot. There has been a lot of activity in Alaska. There's this old rundown place that looks like it would be haunted, like one of those ghost town haunted cities. Yeah. But I think I'm gonna end stream for tonight. Thank you guys for coming out and watching my stream, and have a wonderful night.